running through them like Pyrex. Glock 9, 230s right by the Pyrex. And a 25 strap with my thigh at. They ain't teach us about credit, nah, that ain't how we grew up. Or how the original.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. We back with another video. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. But today I'm going to give a definitive synopsis on the geographical locations in the 178 worlds beyond the ice wall and how those intergalactic geographical landmasses are occupied by black extraterrestrials according to etymology and non-ether genetical properties. But before we get started, let me reiterate something. It's imperative that you understand that non-ether genetical properties is conducive to carbon because carbon is the building block of all civilization, meaning that the biological structure of black people works in synergy with the universe and it harmonizes with nature because we are the electromagnetic conduit of the macroverse. So that's how you know who occupied those geographical locations beyond the ice wall according to DNA that's beyond Eurocentric and Westernized science, right? So with that being said, that's how you understand and know that Antarctica was a tropical civilization during the first sun cycle, meaning that mankind wasn't created until the lunar cycle, right? So with all that shit being said, we need to break this shit all the way down, right? Now, there's a book that you got to get called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls by Nas Confunded. And it basically entails about there's different worlds beyond the ice wall. So let me get my screen share going. So it's talking about the different geographical locations beyond the ice wall. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the map in video form. Now, let me scoot back a little bit. This is where we at. This is what we call the known lands. The known lands is where you got, you know, where we at in the United States, and you got Asia and you got Europe. But right above here by the Asgard portal, you got Australia. Now, there's a metaphysical and there's an esoteric connection to that, because when you understand the colonization process of what happened in Australia to the Tasmanian people are basically the original Aboriginals who inhabited Australia. And then you got the Asgard portal outside the ice wall right above Australia. So now I'm going to show you the Tasmanian people. You had the Tasmanian people. These beings right here are basically the descendants of the Dawanese tribes, who are basically furry dwarfs, who are basically amalgamated from a genetic splicing program that was created by the Anunnaki. So because it's basically in alignment to the esoteric teachings of Kemet when you're talking about the goddess Bes. And goddess Bes is this being right here, who was a god in ancient Kemet. And they were basically the protectors of the children. They were basically the protectors of the pharaohs. And they were basically like gatekeepers of all the pyramids and gatekeepers of certain geographical locations all around the planet. So these beings, this being right here, are basically the progenitors of the Aboriginal people in Australia. When you're talking about the Aboriginal, the Tasmanian people, where you get the term Tasmanian devil from. See, everything that you see in these movies, when you know enough historical context, theological context, when you know enough history, you can basically pull the truth out of all these things that they're telling you, because everything that they show you in these movies is basically a documentary of what's going on beyond the ice wall. It's an emulation of it, right? So then you got this British prime minister right here. He's basically the one that colonized the land of Australia. And you can see how when they colonize the land, they take the heads of the people and basically they mark their territory, because he was working with the Pleiadians. Because when you break down the etymology of the word Asgard, we're going to go back to the video. When you break down the etymology of the word Asgard, it means Norse gods, which coincides to Norse mythology. Right? So when you're talking about Norse mythology, you're talking about the Indo-European, who are the Nordics. So then when you look at the Australian flag, right? The Australian flag is a direct emulation of the Pleiadian star constellation, because that's where the Indo-European was created, through the Pleiadians, right? So now I'm gonna show you Pleiadian star constellation. is a direct emulation of the Australian flag, which is not a coincidence, right? So that's how when they came through this portal and infiltrated the ice wall, they came into the known lands and basically colonized this landmass, because Pleiadians, they do the bidding of Draconians, and because in the book, the Draconians are basically the custodians, right? So they basically they got a contract with the Pleiadians and the Greys, and they do the bidding of Draconians, and they basically colonize and usurp all the resources and the genetics of the original people in the known lands, who are the descendants of the Anunnaki, your so-called Black people in America, right? So now, when you go to the ancestral lands are basically where the Danakil tribe was, the Nubians. So when you're talking about the Anunnaki, when you had the 200 fallen angels who was projected from a higher galaxy, the 19th galaxy, when they came down to this realm right here, they inhabited the Australian Republic first, who are the Danakil, right? And this is where a lot of your mermaid beings come from. And a lot of the mermaids, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you a video real quick. When you're talking about the mermaids, right? That the mermaids, the Black extraterrestrial mermaids come from the ancestral republic geographical location.
White. So that you can have a look at that. I'm very pleased about it, because normally we perceive aliens to be white. And that's never sat very comfortably with me, frankly, when I know that it's not the case. This particular group are a Black group, and they're very benign, very friendly. I have encountered them, though I can't say that I'm anything like an expert on them, but I have encountered them. They are not reptilian. The questioner uses the word reptilian. I can understand that, because when you look at them, you would see the scales, you would see the whole shape, but the correct term is amphibian. They are a hybridized form of human and amphibian. They are black-skinned. They model themselves a little bit on human culture. That's because they have existed in the oceans of this planet. That ate gods. So that
I need you to understand something. When you break down the etymology of the word zombie comes from the cuneiform language, which means amen, anu, which means hidden. Apocalypse means to reveal what's hidden beyond the ice wall. So when you're talking about everything, when you're talking about the pole shift, the reversal of the pole shift that's going to happen, these ice walls is basically going to melt, and you're going to see everything that was hidden. Everything that's, being hidden beyond the ice wall is going to be revealed to the public once you have the reversal of the pole shift that's going to happen in the future. So that's why, they giving you the reality of extraterrestrials. They got to put it in the public domain, because, that coincides with universal law. They have to tell you the truth. You see what I'm saying? And if you notice in the video, those were black extraterrestrial statues that he was talking about. So now I'm going to show you another video that tells you, they know who you are genetically, which is what I basically said, that racism is not about skin color. It's predicated upon the fact of non-ether genetical properties, because they need your genetics and able to survive the pole shift that's going to take place in between now and basically in the future. So I'm going to show you this video, another video. Pay close attention. Listen to the words that he was saying, because there's a delineation between man and mankind. Man, the original man, has 9 ether genetics. Mankind has 6 ether and 7 ether genetics, meaning that they don't have the anatomy to infiltrate the higher realms. So you got to look at that reptilian tape that I put out, and then you got to look at the other tapes I put out talking about the Anunnaki and how you need a certain genetical format in order to survive the shift. So watch this video.
The stem cell technology that Peter and I are investing in is called SCMD, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go and take it out.
Look at these black women willing to trade in their divinity and their genetics for some fucking money that hasn't been backed by natural resources since 1934. So that's why I said, you know, these monotheistic religions, this fake ass history is to keep you outside of yourself to where you will destroy yourself for some fucking money. And look at these people, they sitting there laughing, they having dinner with these people, and they don't even understand what's going on. Because like I said, they need your DNA in order to survive the shift. I mean, at this moment in time, man, like, it's pretty cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? They got the information out there, it's in the public domain. So at this moment in time, if you don't know who you are genetically, you're gonna, you know, eventually gonna destroy yourself.
Greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that.
You see, like the movie Get Out wasn't lying. Like I said, man, they need your genetics. Why do they need your anatomy? Why they have to tell you? Why they got to keep your history so secret? Why they got to keep your DNA so secret? Why they got to hide everything on the planet? Because like I said, it's only conducive to their system to keep you outside of knowing who you really are. You know what I'm saying?
So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg. So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500.
Mind you, these are billionaires willing to give black women their, you know, buy their stem cells for $100. These women are willing to trade in their divinity for, you know, crumbs, basically. Because you got to understand that the stem cells of the black woman has prokaryotic cells, meaning that she is able to regenerate because she has immortalized cell lines, right? So when you're talking about the ovate cell inside the black woman's womb, right? The ovate cell contains a certain amount of stem cells to where the black woman is already born with her children, right? She's already born with her potential children inside of her womb. So now you can kind of see why they want to do this switching of the sexes and things of that nature, to where they can take and extract the black woman's womb and put it inside of another person's body. You see what I'm saying? Because I told you, it's all about genetical self-preservation. So now listen to what else he's saying.
He's going to $60,000 with the eggs. Yeah. If you have an abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, you know, placenta, you know, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells.
He said your period blood is so rich with stem cells. Like I told you, your organs is a lot more vital than everybody else's on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Because you are descendants of those extraterrestrials who came from outside of that ice wall, right? But like I said, the veil has been lifted. You know what I'm saying? Everything is going to be revealed in the future. I'm going to keep playing the video.
As waste that it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled. Mm-hmm. And it should go to waste. It's life for somebody else. It's life for mankind.
He said it's life for mankind. Understand, I told you there's a difference between man and mankind. Even when you look at Revelations, not Revelation, but in the book of Genesis, it talks about man and mankind. Those are two different species.
Best days are 60 to 18 years old. Those are the best days. As you get older, your age will be good. That's what I'm thinking. So you may not be our top candidate.
No, it's fine. I know we'll make it anyway.
Cloning yourself with the idea of making yourself immortal, I think, is science fiction, and I think it's unethical.
They've already tested this practice,
like I told you,
and Mouse was fat, and Mouse got six-pack, and he was jumping all the women. You know, young, right? You know, at first it's just everybody safe, and after that, the young.
like I said, you got the gamma radiation hitting the planet right now. You got gamma radiation that's hitting the planet, and it's going to break down all these ice walls. So meaning that before you had the first flood of Noah, all these geographical landmasses were connected together. That was based, and then in the middle of the planet, you had the tree of life. They cut down that tree of life, and now you have different deviations of different landmasses all around the planet. We are separated as a people. We are separated from our ancestral galactic bloodline. So now when you're in the known lands, you are basically being colonized by custodians, draconians, Pleiadians, and Greys who are taking your genetics for genetical self-preservation. Now, I need you to understand something about the custodians. In the book, the custodians, they only take upon the anatomy of basically mankind, because mankind, they need the anatomy of mankind to infiltrate certain domes. That's why they're able to go inside different domes all around the 178 worlds, all around the outside the ice wall. So in order to infiltrate the firmament, that's because you need a certain spiritual energy, because draconians, custodians, they don't have no type of spiritual emotions. In order to infiltrate certain dimensions, you need that emotional intelligence. You need the frequency of love. So they don't have that. So that's why they take upon the anatomy of mankind, the ones who have 6 ethergenetical properties, because a draconian, a custodian, they cannot take upon the anatomy of a so-called black person, because we have too much carbon all throughout our anatomy, and we have neuromelanin. So they need, that's why you talking about I forgot her name, but you got to look at that draconian tape that I put out talking about the reptilians. They cannot take upon the 4th and 5th dimensional frequencies, because the gamma radiation is going to expose everything on the planet. This is why this is the Aquarian age. So this is the rest of some of the lands right here. You got the land of Mars, where you're talking about the human colony right here. You got the human colony, right? So this is, like I said, shout out to Dr. Phil Valentine. He said that Mars is basically beyond the ice wall, right? So since Mars is beyond the ice wall, you can see why all these billionaires and these millionaires, they all want to go to the human colony that's beyond the ice wall, which is Mars. But like I said, you got to get the Tartarian book as well, because it also entails that there's different forms of they use cyborgs and things of that nature. They use the land of Mars to create these synthetic beings with cybernetics and things of that nature, merging human with machine. This is what they do this in this geographical location in the land of Mars. Then you got the lands of angels, the Elderbarian lands. Then you got the lands of the Forgotten Path. In my opinion, I think these geographical locations are for people who don't know their purpose, the ones who are the lost souls. So when they die, I think they consciousness and their souls and their spirit goes to this landmass and is trapped there. That's just my opinion, because there's no reason why you would call this geographical location the lands of the Forgotten Path. You see what I'm saying? And now, I mean, it's kind of in alignment to where, it's right by the land of Mars, because I told you the basis of the land of Mars is basically merging human with robot, which is cybernetics. When you take use horizontal gene transfer by taking another consciousness out and put it inside of another body or inside of a robot. Then you got the Andromeda lands. These are all different, land masses beyond the ice wall. So you got that one right there, and there's another video right here. You know, look at all these, you know, these lands that they don't tell you nothing about. Whether, you know, even if they try to put it in the name of fiction. But like I said, they got to put it in the public domain in order to tell you the truth. It's universal law that they got to tell you the truth. Look at the lands of Jupiter. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's in a state of desolation because Zeus and Jupiter work in synergy. That's Kronos. Because I told you, Kronos is basically the god of the Bible, who is Zeus. Zeus and Jupiter is Jesus, which is why it's right next to the land of the custodians, who are Draconians. Because then when you look right here, it's got the land of Baal. Baal is what they, the god that they worship, who was the god of Moloch, which is Pan. So everything is in alignment, you know, to everything that's going on beyond the ice wall. Look at everything look at their landmass. It's real desolate. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the celestial lands. You got all types of land masses way beyond the ice wall. You got the land of Venus. Then you got the Thumban land. Boy, look at all these land masses they don't tell you nothing about. So now I'm going to there's another one right here. I think I showed you this one. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? The land of the custodians is in a state of desolation. You look at it. Then you got the Saint German lands, right? Which was Greeks. When you're talking about the Greeks are the Germans are basically the descendants of the Greeks when they created religion or monotheistic religion through Ptolemy. And then when the Romans got it, they got it and created religion at 325 AD at the Council of Nicaea. You see what I'm saying? Because these land masses is conducive to the history of a certain people who colonized the lands of the original people. And you got the land of Neptune. Now, where is it at? Then you can look, the second Earth, the land of clones, right? This is basically a clone of everything what's going on. So how you know that this landmass might not be an emulation of everything that's going on right now? Because you got certain, what if you have your consciousness is being projected from this different geographical locations to America or to Europe or to Germany or to Australia? You know what I'm saying? That's just a theory. I don't know. It said the second lands of clones. So when you now you can kind of understand, like, when these celebrities or these politicians, when they die, do they go there? Do their consciousness get extracted and they get put back on that geographical landmass? Who knows? And then there's in the book, it talks about the land of Gilgamesh. They said the land of Gilgamesh was kind of like some type of utopian society, to where it was just as big as New York City, and they had, you know, certain ancient technology. So when you're talking about technology, right? When you look at all, you know, look at the hieroglyphs from Sumeria, you look at the hieroglyphs all around the planet, right? Hold on, let me get my screen share back. When you're talking about all the hieroglyphs, and you know what I'm saying, these people being, you know, very intuitive with certain technologies and things of that nature. When you look at this hieroglyph right here, this is probably based out of Japan, when you had the Nagas, right? She has a tablet in her hand. She's using it as a phone. These are different forms of hieroglyphics that's basically showing you the reality of the fact that these people, these beings at this moment of time, were very high technological, right? So that's why you got to understand ontology. Ontology is basically showing you the metaphysical aspects amalgamating with nature, meaning that they're joining forces. So they show you a remnants of everything that happened on the planet through animals, through hieroglyphics, through everything. But it's up to you to have that mental and spiritual fortitude to see the truth and decipher everything that they're showing you, right? So now I'm going to read you something to give you the reality by a scientist named Martin Kenny. He said that the original or 0 point race, the etheric beings, which are all other races born, were the guys here. No, not right there. It says the Hyperborea, the Anunnaki, or the black race, was the first original race of humankind created by the Polarians. The Polarians are basically the Ethereal beings, the galactic gods that you're talking about, the 200 fallen angels, who are the Riskians, right? And it says they were pushed outward after Lemuria, or the Oriental race, was created. So you got to understand something. That's showing you the reality that you had black people first, and then you had everybody else was created during the lunar cycle. Because during the lunar cycle, that's when you grab things in water. When you grab anything in water, that creates a amalgamation of different stem cells, different eukaryotic cells, splice genetics. So that is basically the precursor to 6 ether genetical properties, right? So meaning that they were basically a base people with basic instincts. So now then when you read, it said the creation of a new ring and land of a root race every 24,000 years. The 24,000 years is basically the verification period of everything on the planet, where the ice wall and everything is basically going to be depleted, right, during the Aquarian age. Because when you look at the symbol of the Aquarian age, it's showing you that there is a divine feminine solar transmission pouring down on the planet, right? She's pouring that galactic, that cosmic energy back on the planet to where it can reverse the polarity of all the evil on the planet. So it's going to basically knock down all these ice walls that basically encapsulate the known lands that we living in. Now I'm going to show you the whole map. Now this is the whole map right here. Now when you look at the bottom of the map right here, this is Nibiru. You see Nibiru is basically in a state of desolation, meaning that, you know, that's why they created mankind, because mankind, they needed them to extract all the resources to basically create, to basically revitalize the dome around their solar system, because Nibiru has it's a tri-solar system. It has 3 suns on it, so it can only take on certain photon light energy. It can only take up on certain UV radiation. So these are the 178 worlds beyond the ice wall, all these geographical locations, you know what I'm saying? And you got us sitting right here in the middle, because before, you know, the first flood of Noah, all of these land masses were conjoined all at once. When you talking about Pangea, before the continental drift that happened, right? So now I'm going to show you. So now you got that out the way. Now I'm going to show you something. They have to give you the reality of extraterrestrial life. They do this on purpose. Now, when you look at this Daily Mail publication here, it says NASA looks to the heavens for help. Agency enlisted 24 theologians to assess how the world will react to the discovery of alien life on distant planets and how it might change our perception of God's and creation. So now this is why it's imperative for y'all to get out of religion, because religion is basically, you know, it's hypocrisy. It goes against, you know, creation. Like, for instance, we got 1 billion stars in our solar system, and every star is a universe, meaning that Earth is basically a speck in the cosmic spectrum. So now, you know, that coincides to the theory if the Earth is flat or not, right? And based upon my independent research and my own logical assertions, I really believe that the Earth is cube shaped. And the only reason I say that is because when you understand the sacred geometry. Where is it at? When you understand the sacred geometry of the universe, when you understand the sacred geometry of the universe, I'm looking for a picture here for a second. Here we go. When you understand the sacred geometry of the universe, all these, monotheistic religions that's conducive to the Freemasonic order, they all venerate the cube, because a cube and a circle both work in synergy. They live on two different dimensional planes. A cube is 360 degrees and a circle is 360 degrees, because what you got to understand is, when you understand the matrix intuitively, Saturn and the moon works in synergy, and the moon creates 360 degrees concentric circles that makes up the tetrahedron Metatron's cube that sits on the top of Saturn, because Saturn has a cube on top of it, which creates subatomic particles, and those subatomic particles are cube shaped, is projected to the moon and projected back down on planet Earth in the form of a hologram. So that's how you know that we living in a holographic Vedic simulation of reality, right? So all these religions basically venerate the cube, because the cube is what creates the illusion, right? So in my opinion, so when you, after each 2,000 year age, astrological age, when you got the age of a Pisces going to the age of Aquarius, I think the planet in itself is cube shaped and it flips like a Rubik's cube. Now that's just my opinion. I didn't read this out of a book. I didn't get this from a source or anything like that. That's just my opinion, according to my own research and my own logical assertion. Because, when you understand sacred geometry, certain sigils and shapes only beget other sigils and shapes, meaning that it's a microcosm of the macrocosm. It's an emulation of something that is basically greater than. So now I'm going to show you, where is it at? Now, I need y'all to understand something when you're talking about, the pole shift, because like I said, the ice wall in itself is basically going to reveal what is hidden. So once you have these ice walls and you have this pole shift, it's only going to be a certain amount of ultraviolet light photon spectrum that's going to hit the planet. It's going to, show you the difference between man and mankind. So this is Yakub, who was the grafter of all the races on the planet. When you talk about the Asian, Caucasian, and East Indian, who are basically genetically extracted out of the original people on the planet. So it tells you, the difference between genetical properties, because all this is basically symbolic to everything that's going to happen in the future. So that's why I had to show you this right here. I believe. So now when you're talking about, this is a meeting with the United Nations. They give you the reality. Somebody in the meeting said, I don't know who said it verbatim, but it says, tell them we are studying ice and they aren't allowed to see us study ice. They'll believe it. So they showing you, this is a meeting. This is a setting at the United Nations. They showing you everything, it's basically encapsulated around the ice wall. And now when you look at it from a theological perspective, it tells you about the firmament, to why you can't see beyond the ice wall. For those who read the Bible who are not able to comprehend the Bible, it talks about the firmament. It says, hast thou him spread out the sky, which is strong and as molten looking glass. That's in Job 37:18. And then when you said, and God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so in Genesis 1:7. So they give you, like I said, they got to give you the reality. It's universal law that they got to put the truth in public domain, whether it's through a book, whether it's through, science fiction, whether it's through a goddamn movie. They have to tell you the truth, because everything is basically a documentary of everything that's going on beyond the ice wall, right? So with all that being said, man, get this video out there. Thanks for watching this video. I had to show you the alignment of extraterrestrial existence is basically in alignment to all the geographical locations that's beyond the ice wall and who basically occupied those lands first, according to DNA. So with all that being said, get this out there, share the video, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.